Hold on to your hats, folks, because Trump just dropped a tariff bomb on the global economy. In a move that has sent shockwaves through financial markets worldwide, President Trump has announced sweeping tariffs that are set to change the landscape of international trade. On April 3, 2025, he slapped a 10% tariff on all imports. That's right, everything. From electronics to clothing, no product is spared. This unprecedented move has left businesses scrambling to adjust their supply chains and consumers bracing for higher prices. And if you thought that was bad, wait till you hear about the targeted tariffs on specific countries. These tariffs are not just a blanket policy, they are strategically aimed at some of the United States' biggest trading partners, causing diplomatic tensions to rise. China got hit with a whopping 54% tariff. This is a significant escalation in the ongoing trade war between the two economic giants. Chinese manufacturers are already feeling the strain, and the ripple effects are being felt across global supply chains. The EU got a 20% punch in the gut. European leaders are scrambling to respond, with some calling for retaliatory measures. The European stock markets have reacted negatively, with major indices showing significant declines. Even our buddies in Canada and Mexico are feeling the pain with a 25% tariff on many goods. This move has strained relations with our closest neighbors and trading partners, leading to urgent discussions on how to mitigate the impact. The reaction from the rest of the world? Let's just say it wasn't pretty. Protests have erupted in several countries, and international leaders are voicing their concerns loudly. The G20 meeting has turned into a battleground of heated debates and tense negotiations. Global markets went into a tailspin. Investors are in a state of panic, and the uncertainty is causing massive sell-offs. The ripple effect is being felt in every corner of the financial world, from Wall Street to small local exchanges. The Dow Jones had its worst day since June 2020, plummeting nearly 4%. Traders are reacting in shock, and financial news outlets are buzzing with dire predictions about the future of the global economy. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq weren't far behind, dropping nearly 5% and 6% respectively. Japan's Nikkei index? Decimated. The impact is not just limited to the US, it's a global financial crisis in the making. Banking shares led the decline, marking the biggest weekly drop in 5 years. It was a bloodbath. Financial analysts are scrambling to make sense of the chaos, and the banking sector is bracing for more turbulence ahead. World leaders were quick to condemn Trump's reckless move. Press conferences are being held around the globe, with leaders calling for a reversal of the tariffs and warning of the long-term consequences. From Paris to Tokyo, the message was clear. This trade war is a terrible idea. Protests are erupting in major cities, and the international community is united in its opposition. The world is watching closely, and the stakes have never been higher. So, what's the deal with these tariffs? Are they a negotiating tactic or the opening salvo in a full-blown trade war? Even Trump's own team can't seem to agree. One minute, Trump's on Twitter bragging about how tariffs give him great power to negotiate. The next minute, his administration is singing a different tune. Larry Kudlow, his top economic advisor, insists the tariffs are here to stay. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross claims they're not negotiable. Someone needs to get their story straight. The official justification for these tariffs is all over the map. Trump claims they'll bring back manufacturing jobs to the U.S. and open up export markets. He also says they're a response to unfair trade practices by other countries. But let's be real, folks, this has nothing to do with fairness. This is about Trump's ego. He hates losing, and he's willing to risk the entire global economy just to save face. Economists are sounding the alarm, warning that these tariffs could push the U.S. and the rest of the world into a recession. The ripple effects of these economic policies are being felt across various sectors, from manufacturing to retail. Experts are increasingly concerned about the long-term impacts on global trade and economic stability. J.P. Morgan, one of the biggest banks in the world, now says there's a 60% chance of a global recession by the end of the year. This is a significant increase from their previous estimate, which stood at 40% just a few weeks ago. The bank's analysts are closely monitoring key economic indicators and warning that the situation could deteriorate rapidly. That's up from 40% just a few weeks ago. The stock markets are already reacting to these predictions with significant declines in major indices. Investors are becoming increasingly jittery, pulling out their investments and seeking safer havens. Financial analysts are advising caution and recommending diversified portfolios to mitigate risks. And if a recession wasn't bad enough, get ready for inflation to rear its ugly head. Rising prices are becoming a common sight and consumers are starting to feel the pinch. Everyday essentials are becoming more expensive and the cost of living is steadily increasing. Tariffs make imported goods more expensive, which means businesses have to raise prices. This increase in production costs is inevitably passed on to consumers. From raw materials to finished products, the entire supply chain is affected, leading to higher prices across the board. That means you and I have to pay more for everything from groceries to cars to, you guessed it, iPhones. The impact is widespread, affecting not just luxury items but also everyday necessities. Families are finding it harder to make ends meet as their purchasing power diminishes. Speaking of iPhones, remember when they cost $1,000 and we all thought that was outrageous? Well, those days might soon seem like a bargain. The tech industry is particularly vulnerable to these tariffs, given its reliance on imported components. Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because thanks to Trump's tariffs, a high-end iPhone could soon cost $2,300. This staggering price increase is a direct result of the additional costs imposed by tariffs, which are then passed on to consumers. That's right, $2,300 for a phone. Thanks, Trump. As consumers, we need to be aware of these changes and prepare for the financial impact they will have on our daily lives. The economic landscape is shifting, and it's crucial to stay informed and make prudent financial decisions. Let's break down how we got to this insane $2,300 iPhone price tag, shall we? It's a wild ride through the world of international trade, tariffs, and the global supply chain. Buckle up, because this is going to be quite the journey. Apple, like many other companies, manufactures its products in China. This is because China offers a combination of skilled labor, efficient production processes, and cost advantages that are hard to beat. But there's a catch. China, as we know, got hit with a 54% tariff. This tariff is essentially a tax imposed on imported goods, and it's designed to make foreign products more expensive, thereby encouraging consumers to buy domestic products instead. That means Apple now has to pay an extra 54 cents for every dollar's worth of iPhones it imports from China. This additional cost can quickly add up, especially when you're talking about millions of devices. Now, Apple's not going to just eat that cost. Companies are in the business of making money after all, so what do? They pass that cost on to us, the consumers. This means higher prices for the same products. They're going to pass it on to us, the consumers. This is why you see that $1,000 iPhone suddenly becoming a $1,540 iPhone. But wait, there's more to this story. So, that $1,000 iPhone just became a $1,540 iPhone. But wait, there's more. Apple also uses components from other countries that got hit with tariffs like South Korea and Taiwan. Apple also uses components from other countries that got hit with tariffs like South Korea and Taiwan. These countries supply essential parts for the iPhone, and tariffs on these components further increase the overall cost. Those tariffs get added on too. When you combine all these additional costs, the price of the iPhone keeps climbing. It's like a snowball effect, where each tariff adds another layer of expense. By the time it's all said and done, that $1,000 iPhone could end up costing you $2,300. It's a staggering increase, and it all comes down to the complex web of international trade and tariffs. And it's not just iPhones, folks. The impact of tariffs extends to a wide range of consumer electronics. Laptops, tablets, and other gadgets are all seeing price hikes. Everything from cars to clothes to coffee is going to get more expensive. Tariffs affect the entire supply chain, and ultimately, it's the consumers who bear the brunt of these costs. So next time you see a high price tag, remember, tariffs might be to blame. Section 5. Allies on edge. Global trust takes a hit. Trump's tariffs aren't just hurting our wallets, they're also damaging America's relationships with its closest allies. Canada, Mexico, the EU, Japan, South Korea, they've all been slapped in the face with these tariffs, and they're not taking it lying down. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau called the tariffs insulting and a betrayal of the close relationship between the two countries. French President Emmanuel Macron went even further, calling for a halt to U.S. investments in France. Even Japan's normally reserved Prime Minister Fumio Kishida couldn't hide his anger, calling the tariffs a national crisis. Trump's America First approach to trade is leaving America alone. Our allies are furious, and who can blame them? Section 6. Broken Promises. The Trade War's Human Cost. Lost in all the talk of stock market plunges and iPhone price hikes is the human cost of this trade war. Real people are going to lose their jobs because of Trump's tariffs. Companies are already announcing layoffs and plant closures. Take Stellantis, the company that owns Chrysler and Jeep. They just announced temporary layoffs and plant closures due to the tariffs. These are hard-working Americans who are now facing an uncertain future because of Trump's reckless policies. And let's not forget about the farmers who are caught in the crossfire. China was a major buyer of American soybeans and other agricultural products. Now, with the tariffs in place, China is buying its soybeans from other countries. American farmers are left holding the bag, literally. Section 7. The China Syndrome. A tariff tightrope walk. Trump seems to think that China will back down in the face of these tariffs. He's wrong. China has already retaliated with tariffs of its own on American goods, and they're not afraid to escalate this trade war even further. China is a global economic powerhouse. They have a population of over 1.4 billion people and a rapidly growing economy. They don't need the U.S. market as much as they used to. They can find other buyers for their goods. This trade war is a dangerous game of chicken, and there's a very real chance that both sides will lose. Section 8. Can the trade war be won? Experts say no. So, can Trump win this trade war? The short answer is no. Trade wars are not winnable. They're lose-lose propositions. Everyone gets hurt in the end. Even if Trump manages to bully China into making some concessions, it won't be worth the damage he's doing to the U.S. economy and America's standing in the world. The tariffs are already causing uncertainty and volatility in the markets. They're driving up prices for consumers and businesses, and they're undermining global trade and cooperation. Section 9. The Tariff Legacy, a World Divided. Trump's tariffs are a short-sighted and self-defeating policy that will have long-lasting negative consequences. They're already pushing the global economy toward recession. They're driving up prices for consumers and businesses, and they're damaging America's relationships with its closest allies. The world is a more dangerous and uncertain place because of Trump's trade war, and it's hard to see how anyone comes out on top. Thanks, Trump.